Dạ, chào bố mẹ.
Chào Uyên.
Cảm ơn bố mẹ đã tham gia vào cái dự án này và đã thuật lại, đồng ý thuật lại cái hành trình ra đi di dân của bố mẹ. Bây giờ mình đổi cho bố mẹ cho xin phép đổi qua tiếng Anh ha. So, hello.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourselves?
This is Quang Vu. Yeah, you know me then. Quang Vu.
Minh Âu.
And if you can take us back to the years before April 30th, 1975, could you describe for us what your life was like?
Really, we came back to Vietnam from Canada. We were students in Canada since the 1960s, after the Tet Offensive, we felt that okay, let's see what's happening in Vietnam. So that's when we sailed home, and in the middle of the war. Right.
You were, sorry to interrupt you. You were students in what were you studying in?
Engineering, and Min was in economics. And, okay.
You were studying in
engineering. Yeah.
Where were you studying in Canada?
No, at the University of Montreal, in Canada, in the economics. But that what happened is after the Tet Offensive. Lucky that it's only my last year. So after I graduate in summer, and then at the same time there's that I was pregnant for the first child. That's how we decided it's a time to go home.
What was it about the Tet Offensive that helped you decide to go home? What was your state of mind?
No, it's Vietnam. It's our country, and we are curious on really what's happening there. There was a war, and our families were there, and just the call of the country. Yes.
So, when you saw the images of battle and warfare breaking out in
on the
cities,
television, mostly.
In the television, yeah. This is when the war really came to the cities. Instead of fearing for your life and then deciding that you're going to stay away in the safety of Canada, you made the opposite decision.
Well, both of us family is there, right? So if we fear for our life, it's it's a kind of that immaterial at that time to fear for your life, since all the relatives.
And they were expecting us at the same time, really, so that we felt that okay, it was not too bad. Yeah.
So what was it like when you came back to Vietnam in 1968?
We end up in the atmosphere of war everywhere, even in Saigon, where there are log houses everywhere. There are barbed wire, there is checkposts, and there is the military everywhere, and there were Americans everywhere also. Okay.
And the rocket pour into the city almost every night. Yeah. On the nearby.
Yeah.
You were in Saigon.
We were in Saigon. Yeah.
And tell us about how you about your life at that time. What did you do for?
We applied for jobs, and so she went to work in the bank, and me, I worked for a Shell oil company. And, So, but the country was in war, but in Saigon we were pretty safe.
We kind of start our life and our family, but because I just said that I was pregnant in Canada, and then we went back, and we have the first child 2 months after. We arrived there about August in 1968, and I have my first child in October. So, and then we start the family like any normal family, even though the war is around nearby, but we still start our life like everybody else.
And by 1975, how big was your family?
We had 4 kids.
4 children. 4 children. Yeah.
5.
No, 4.
No, she was asking 75, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, April 30th.
April 30th, 3.
5.
But then 10 days after that, the 4th child come in, so it's 4. It's 4.
How did life change for you on April 30th?
It has changed very, very much. First of all, I think people were generally asking us why you didn't leave before the takeover. We were not intending to leave the country at that time, just because we didn't do anything, and we think that okay, so it's a change of political regime. Let's see. We had the war up to now, and maybe there is an opportunity here. But afterward, just a few months after the takeover, I see that there was no hope anywhere, and so I left my company. I told them, okay, let's I do something else. Yeah.
Just to clarify, so at the takeover, the April the 30th, you had an opportunity to leave?
We have an opportunity to leave, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because really, somehow we were in touch with the diplomatic people in the of the Canada Commission there, and they seem to suggest us that if we leave, maybe, yeah. But finally, we didn't get in touch with them anymore. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the things practically is like there's a lady. She worked for the in Canada here for the foreign affairs and government, and she's a friend of us. So she talked to the ambassador in Saigon that that she has a couple of friends there, and then the ambassador of Saigon called us there and asked if you want to leave, we can help. But my husband said no, we don't intend to leave. Sorry, thank you. Yeah.
Were all your friends leaving, or the people with the ability to go?
Most of the people.
Yeah, we had friends, and yeah. We through that contact we introduced friends, and mainly classmates who were there. And,
most of them.
Most of them went. Left. Yeah.
And you said that it didn't take long for you to realize what kind of a regime this was. What, it took you a few months?
Yeah, no, just for me it was clear. it was clear that it's a takeover, not just a change in regime or it's just a takeover. They took over the company. They almost destroyed it. Yeah.
You were working for what?
For Shell.
For Shell, and the North took over the company.
And when they came, I don't know whether they call it the North or the South or whatever, but they took over the company, and it was clear just after a few weeks that they were not interested in running the company. They were interested in taking over and how you get good.
Pillage.
It's some kind of thing like something like that. Yeah.
Like whoever can get out there.
Whoever. So I just okay. I told them okay. Let me leave. But,
and was your job stable?
Yeah, and after he left, yes, I work in the bank, so that the bank is more organized because that for him the Shell oil company was like most of it is the expat, so the foreigners left, and then there's not a lot of people there. But in the bank that I work, everybody is there. The new people came in. Number one is they take over everything, the book and everything, and they retain the staff. And I was one of them that to continue with to work for them for 4 years, and because at the same time you don't trust us, they don't trust us, but at the same time they need our expertise, because banking meaning there's a lot of things like accounting, statistic figures and everything, and they are from the first people who arrived to the bank are the people from the jungle. It's not the north. The people from the jungle to take over, meaning that they are guerrillas. They didn't know nothing about banking, but little by little, those people from the north, they call it the Bank of Vietnam, National Bank of Vietnam. They came over, they took over, but we still there to work for them, and they keep us. No salary for the first 6 months. But then after that, they just that give us a bit in order to go on.
And did you were you able to find other work?
oh yeah, no, I was roaming around. Really, there's the what?
Black market.
Maybe
The open market. No, they call
Flea
open
market?
market.
Yeah, the flea market.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was doing the flea market instead. I was buying from one end of the street and then go and sell it at the middle of the market. So in the meantime, nobody knows, there is no pricing anywhere. So in the middle, you make some money.
What did you buy? What did you buy and sell?
Transistors,
Radios,
fans, electric fans, bicycles, and mostly cassette. They were mostly cassette.
And by this time, you've had 5 children.
yes.
Four.
Four. But at the same time, I stayed with the bank because it's not because of the because it's not because of the living. Because of course, we have savings, so we just sell whatever, little by little to go on with life. But I stay with the bank because that's the reason why we can stay in Saigon. Otherwise, like that you have no jobs, you have nothing. You can be a resident of Saigon, right? Like they can evacuate you to the new economic zones. They call it vùng kinh tế mới. That's how I hang on to the bank.
That's just get rid of the people to wherever they can find a spot on the close to the borders of Cambodia and.
They call it the new economic zone, which is vùng kinh tế mới, which a lot of family, the families of those high-ranking military people, they all chase out of Saigon. But I have to hang on to my job because of that, mainly because of that. Otherwise, we have to sell whatever we have in the house.
Other people, like the families of those who had been in the army, their husbands are in the re-education camp, so they come in and they force them into the new economic zone.
Did you spend time in the re-education camp or?
No, because I was not in the military.
But he's in a private company. Shell Oil Company is a private company. Me, I was with the bank, like kind of related to the government. I have to study for 3 days. Yeah.
And then, when did you decide to leave?
Oh, after 3 years.
What made you decide to leave?
That means that if you realize that if their system of brainwashing and all my kids will be zombies.
No, because the image is very striking in the sense the kids have the red scarf, right?
Yeah.
And then weekend they don't stay home. They go to do some kind of community work, sweeping, the school, cleaning everything. So they kind of try to some sort of take the kids away from the family, and that kind of it's really frightened me. Really that scare of that thing. Because
no, even now, I would leave even today. Yeah? So to get my kids a clean mind, not a corrupted mind. Yeah.
It's the indoctrination.
Yeah, the indoctrination and living in there, you get corrupted. Yeah.
And your children were under the age of 10 at this point. They were born. The first was born in 1968.
But because we lived before in Canada, so we knew how the Canadian here they raise kids, what kind of atmosphere the kids growing up. So we couldn't stand there and watching our kids go into that kind of indoctrination at all. That's the main thing.
Can you tell us about all your attempts to leave? Can you tell us about the times that you tried to leave?
Okay, so no, I think I have I thought wrongly. After 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years, not 3 years. After 2 years, we decided to we better leave. Yeah, and and that was what everybody in our surrounding environment think of. So the first thing is That was in 77, I guess, 77. I tried to it was difficult at that time because I didn't know anything. Yeah. So we bought a place. There was rumors that, oh, there is a boat going out. Do you want to go? So in order to play it a little safe, I decided if mom that okay, let's take my two eldest one first, and then once I get there, I'll pick you out. That turns out to be a scam. And we took you to the seashore, but in the last minute they say, oh, the police, and let's run. Okay? So then from then on, I know it was a scam. I lost some money in there, and because of that scam, I said, okay, sailing a boat, there is no need for university. Let's try to do it ourselves. And so I get together with some friend, a friend of her rather, and we were trying to have a scheme to build our own boats and get away. So he's going to build a boat, not a building, but buying a boat and then retrofit it so that it somewhat kind of seaworthiness.
What did you have to do to the boat to make it seaworthy?
Oh, you first on the shape of it. They were river boats. We wanted river boats so that it doesn't look like we are trying to do something else. But the how you got cái gì đó cái
mũi á.
Không phải cái mũi đó. The mũi has to be just a little bit shaped so that it can break the waves. And then I got everything from the library. I went to the library and did some research on what makes a boat, how to make a boat, and how to make it stable, and so when keel, and then I conferred with the other gentleman, and he says, okay, let's do each one, and then when we get to the sea, in the sea, that the two boats will be coupled together like a catamaran, and then they'll be more stable.
So you bought two river boats.
Yeah, they
have one.
They have theirs.
Yeah.
We bought ours.
And you reshaped I guess it's called the nose of the.
Yeah, reshaped the prow là cái gì nhỉ? There is the bow of the ship, okay?
Yeah, the bow.
Yeah.
And you build up, like you take wood and you build it up, like you.
We will build it a little bit higher so that it can break the waves.
And then what did you do to the keel to make it more stable?
We have to add a piece of wood underneath the boat.
It's a kind of a wood like this, so it's the boat, so it's make it stable, not too much wavering.
And
so with with hammer and wood, and you.
No, we hire people. We got
it's
people
a
to
prefab. We have a piece of keel which can be removable. So in the river we have to take it out because it's shallow. It will get into the mud. So we'll keep it in the boat. And then the night before, we get into the under the water, under the boat, and fit the keel onto the boat. Okay?
Is that something that you designed, or is that something like, are there boats that are kind of
from the library?
No, from the library. You just do something.
From the library.
But this keel that you can, removable keel, that was not something that you can buy from the market. You make it.
We do it ourselves with a drill, and then get a bolt, a few bolts together, and so that and that's my second.
And you tested it out? You tried it out?
We tested, not the keel.
Okay.
Not the keel, because we tested on the water and
on the river,
the
river
river
of Saigon.
Yeah.
in the river of Saigon, and we went with the other guy up to the mouth of the river of Saigon. Oh, it was nice.
Did you try like this thing where you go under the water and put it on?
No, the night before he helped us.
Yeah, you
and
tried
we did.
And
we did, and just because of that. But I guess the project lasted about 1 year. Okay, the project lasted about 1 year in the sense that Mayor was in Saigon, and the boat was close by, and we do it a little bit.
Mainly in the river, at the river of Saigon.
The river of Saigon, and we did a little bit just like a hobby, yeah. And finally, it was ready, and they say we agreed with the other guy that okay, let's go. Okay, except that if the keel, and I was really tired.
The tide.
Yeah, I was tired, and if the keel, I misread the tide table, and so we called that at certain time you and the family should be there, and then at the shore I pushed the boat in, but the keel gets stuck in the mud because the tide has been retreating.
The tide table, you got that information from where? From the library too?
Yeah, from the library. Yeah, from the library. Yeah.
And the meeting place where your family was, that was where was
It
that?
was at the
downstream from the
Downstream from
Saigon.
of Saigon.
The river of Saigon. Mostly river of Saigon.
Nha
Nha Be.
Close to the yeah, close to Nha Be.
Close to Nha Be. There are so many. Because it was fun for me, because I was riding the whole river, the whole network of they called it the Arroyo,
I don't know. Yeah, the networks of, I don't know the words either. Yeah, I don't know the word either. The riverlets or.
No, the small rivers which goes into the Saigon River, with mangroves and so on, and it was nice. The experience was exhilarating, because once I get together with the other guy on our trial run, we went as far as Vũng, and that was nice. So you see the whole sea in front of us, and the waves and so on, and that was good. Yeah.
That was the night before.
That was the week before. Okay, because we tried to see how is there a guard post here, where is the guard post there.
So during that, you just spent some time like just exploring the mouth of the river.
A year. That's what he said. A year. Or there's almost 1 year that he'd been in and out of the river of Saigon, and at the same time the other guy, he tried to do some fish catching too. Like, you know, he tried to be like, you know, that fisherman. So like, you know, in that family there's only a father and a son who's in also the small boat, and went out to the with the two of them, two different boats, and tried to explore the area. That's how, like, you know, that happened.
So I think that was a good period for me because you feel the freedom. Yeah? You are in the system. Anything happening, just it's not me anymore. There is your business. Me, I have the sea over there. Yeah?
But then talk to her about the time that, you know, the last day, like, you know, that
Yeah.
you got caught into the mud.
On the last day, I got caught in there. I was trying to wait until the tide comes back.
To lift the boat.
To lift the boat again out of the water. It's just I made sign, okay, let go away, or wait. So
well, because the whole family is waiting at another spot for him to come to pick us up. Okay.
How far away from where you were stuck?
It's about 15 minutes walk.
Along the river,
along the
rice field.
So he walked out there and he, like, you know, make sign to us, you go home. It can be done today.
How long were we waiting for?
No,
an
it was,
hour, about an hour.
And you were getting worried?
No.
It was a very precise time. It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
The change of the tide, except that it's the wrong time. Yeah? So they were there and we were there.
I was there with at that time it's 5 children.
You had the
5 children, right? Yeah, waiting.
And then he came along. He came
walked
along on the shore.
Came along, he said, go home. And then we went
and
home.
then so I didn't abandon the ship yet, because the boat yet, because okay, let's wait until the tide comes back, pull it out, and then we'll figure out how we'll do next time.
And he'll redo it again, right?
Okay, to do it again. Except that during that, a few people comes by, they see my boat caught in the mud. So I innocently told them, maybe you can help me to pull it out. So, okay. Let's, I didn't know they were paramilitaries or security. So they were two. And they told me, okay, let me see. And then they jump into the boat and they suspect something. So instead, okay, they say, okay, we'll wait there, we'll bring help. So they come back and they bring the whole platoon of police come in. And so they jump into the boat. Okay. Yeah. No. At that time, the water is coming back, because it was a long time. Okay, the water is coming back, and so they took over the boat and they said, no, you come with us. We take you somewhere. So they jump into the boat and maneuver it into the water and get to the police station. And there they found nothing, because there are so many fishing gear in there, trolling gear. But then they find this biberon,
a bottle of milk.
Milk
for babies. Yeah, that is for the last son. You know that.
Oh.
I have him about 2 years.
For here?
Yeah, for here. For 2 years.
For here? Okay.
So
Because,
yeah.
so, okay. So they put me in jail, and then they are trying to interrogate me, and they are thinking that I was I was really like a fisherman. They were thinking that I was fishing on the river. They were, okay, except that because of this, they were thinking that I was a link to get some people in Saigon out to a boat somewhere out. So they were trying to interrogate me in order to know where is the boat outside and whom in Saigon I'm working for. Okay?
Physically, they used.
No, they pulled all my clothing out and start to start to, except that once on my underwear I have hidden my ID card from Shell, because okay, I have hidden my from Shell, and then if that, now I know, so you are from Shell.
So you're not a fisherman, that you were discovered.
Okay, locking. So they put me in a cell.
How long were you in jail for?
I guess 3 months.
3 months, 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. No, yeah.
And in the meantime,
Yeah, in the meantime, I tried to buy a way for him to get out. I don't know how, but I did it. Yeah.
otherwise it would have been longer.
I don't know, because there are so many people in there trying to get out of the country. Also, and there are so many people, drug smuggling and so on. So it's we are in a compound about between here and there. They put 18 people in there.
Yeah, we really don't
So
know
like 3 meters by
3 meters by 3 meters. Yeah, in there. It was it was a fort, very thick wall. It was fought by the French, and in a fort they have créneau là cái lỗ chông ấy đó. So you can
an opening.
a turret.
kind of something like that, so that you can shoot out. Okay.
A gun turret. Yeah.
So if 18 people in there, we shared that a few. There are 3 of them to breathe.
Yeah, it turns
In take turns
to breathe in the fresh
and
air.
it's hot inside. Yeah. And the food was just flour, because at that time people were starving already in Saigon.
Food was scarce in Saigon. Food was scarce at that time in the country.
Food that's scarce, at that time in the country is around 77, it's beginning to be scarce. So we have to eat those kind of, they call it
Baba.
bobo is like
Oats.
oatmeal.
Yeah.
No. Cái gì đó?
Oat.
Cái phim gì nhỉ?
Sorghum.
Sorghum.
Sorghum, yeah. Mixed with rice in order to survive.
And then what about the next time that you tried?
He
So
got jail,
yeah,
he got
I
out.
tried. So yeah.
He got in jail, he got out, and then he volunteered himself. Actually, it's not volunteer, he joined some kind of irrigation company to go down to the deep south, which is Bạc Liêu is close to Cà Mau, to do the irrigation.
Is that a job or is that
It was a job.
volunteer?
It's a job.
It's a job.
It's a job.
It was a job, but
Yeah.
it was also a good pretext for me to
Yeah.
to go down there, far away from.
Yeah, it's a job, and also because he's an engineer, so like they need him far away from Saigon because everybody hang on to Saigon at that time. Okay, like nobody want to get out of Saigon because they're afraid of that leaving the losing the spot. Like, because if the minute that you get out of Saigon and then you don't have the residence anymore, then you cannot get in. Even today, they still have that system of residency locally. Okay, but at that time, it's not a volunteering. He got paid because it's a job, but at the same time, people's happy that that somebody with his qualification to join the company to do the irrigation. That's how it's happened.
Yeah,
And when was that? What year was that?
78.
1978.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1978, and then I hooked up with another gentleman. He was from and we joined again a plan to go together, but now on one boat only. Now his family is about 10, so we get together to one boat. Now the only difference is while I was working there, he will apply also to go down there to do fishing again.
Separately,
Close
by.
Close by, and we are practicing. He practices get back and forth regularly to the sea. Now the plan is not river fishing, but out to coastal fishing. Okay, so he had to exercise it every day so that everybody knows that he's a genuine fisherman on coastal fishing.
He was also from the city, but then he
Yes,
moved to
from
the
Yeah.
to move to the
He moved to the
lived
south.
in a coast, like he lives along the coast kind of then?
Yes.
No, he was in the army. Yeah, so he didn't know anything. So together we went fishing, and our catch is okay too, because if that catch, lots of shrimp every day. We get so much shrimp that we have to dry it up and then sell it, and then buy gasoline and fuel.
But you were doing irrigation work.
Yeah,
while
I
he
was
doing
doing
that.
irrigation work, and then I was doing business in a sense, getting back to Saigon to get money and to get 2 passengers.
He was it's nothing like this. He was doing the irrigation work, but at one point, the company got bankrupt, and then he have no longer have work at that company anymore. He went into the local government of that village. He tell those people that now I work there, because they know that he worked there, but I have no
income anymore.
no income, no more jobs, and I have the big family in Saigon. In Saigon right now, the food is very scarce. Things in that area, rice is there's a lot of rice, but they cannot that transport to Saigon because of the policy. And then he asked them I want to take my family down here because the kids then have food to eat, and the local authority is okay for him to bring the family down there. That's how it started. At the same time, the other guys, he's doing his way to get himself that known to his area, in order to go in and out the sea to do the fishing. That's how, like, that happened. And then when he got me and the 3 kids down there, and we bought a place, and then how he bought his own boat now, and then he's going out with the men to the sea in order to do the fishing also. And this time it's not the pretend fishing, it's really fishing. Like, he got, like, that caught shrimp and fish and everything, and they sell it instead of to the market. They sell it to the government in order to take credit. For number 1 is for them to buy oils, and the number 2 is for the people in the local area know their face, that they're in and out. So it's not unusual that they one day they get out of the sea, so they know that they have to be in and out of the sea. That's how it's happened.
How long was this going on for?
Almost a year, 6 months. No,
6 months.
Yeah.
I cannot remember, but it's 6 months.
Almost 1 year. Almost 1 year. That's in and out of that area, which is a very deep south.
And so you brought your 3 children, and the other two
the other 2 stay in Saigon with an aunt at the house, like that we
You and your sister stay in Saigon.
Yeah, stay in Saigon in order to keep the house and keep the residency. You have to go to school there to keep the residency in Saigon. For in the future, somehow, like the business not working, then at least, like I have the place to go back.
How long? We were 8 and 10 at the time.
You and your sister was 8 and 10, and you stay with Kujung, which is his sister, in Saigon for 6 months. Yeah, by yourself. Like Kujung live there, but she has her own, like business to do too. So you in and out. You go to school by yourself, and then you go back, and the 2 of you. I believe that there's another person is the maid of that I employ.
Yeah, and she do the cooking for you.
Yeah, she does the cooking, and she's there for you. But you and your sisters by yourself for about 6 months.
And then tell us about the time that you left. And then what happened next?
So we went.
Yeah.
We are the sea, and so beautiful. It was 5 o'clock because we want to schedule 5 o'clock. Everybody goes to the boat. The boat is anchored out in the sea already, so we have little sampans to take you over there.
No, before that, he has to go to Saigon to take you two down to the place. Okay, about 2 days before that. And when I have all the 5 children gathered there, with there's 2 boys that his friend confide to him to take, because that family couldn't go. So we have 7 children altogether. So at the day that we plan to leave, we told you guys to go to the seashore to do some kind of picking up shelf, like something. The 4 people, okay, the four kids. You guys, you and your sister and those 2 boys, they are the big the oldest one, the four of you, in the morning. So you guys, you have to wait from the morning to 5 o'clock in order, to the dusk for us to take out. So you stay at the along the seashore about all day.
It's in the mud. Yeah? In the mud, we told you to pick up the shells and so on, or do whatever you like in the mangrove over there. And except that tide is coming, and we have to schedule for the tide at the high tide. And tide was coming, you are really afraid. At a certain moment, there was thirst because there was the sun and then thirsty, and then. But when we came in time and pick you up, and then to go.
They pick you up, and then at the same time, I am the last one who left the place. So I left the place with 3 kids, and I was very pregnant.
You were
pregnant.
How long?
7 months.
7 months.
Yeah, and and we were in a small boat. It's a kind of the taxi, and then there's the one of the person who's with us row us to the big boat, and somehow it was very scary because the post of the police people is close by, okay. But they also know that in that area is only my hut. That I cannot go in the house. It's a hut, okay. My hut and their place. So they know that we were there. That's how before I left that hut, I have to put up the kerosene light in order for them to pretend that I was still there.
They were not that far. They can see.
They can see for sure. They can see that that there's light or no light. Light, and then I put down that mosquito net, mosquito net, and everything for them to pretend that we ready to go to bed. Yeah.
And then we left.
And then we left. We left, and then we came to the big boats. There's no events.
And when we sailed at sea, it's already dark.
Yeah.
We went just, but the weather was clear. It's the month of April, so at that time the weather was clear, and we could see we bought how you call a compass, but it was so wavy that the compass didn't work. So we navigated by the stars on the okay.
Did you learn that from the library too? Or?
Yeah. No, it was a good. There was a good research. There is a good research. There was we read expeditions by people telling how to in case of starvation at sea, what you can do, get fishing, get a few fishes, so to get water from the fish, and so on.
We bought a little book in the market, in those open market or black market or whatever you tell it. They call it naufrages volontaires. It's in French. Naufrages volontaires, meaning that in that book there's a man who tried to study about how you die at sea. Okay, you die at sea is not because of you starve, because of you are scared. That's how in that book they say that. So the naufragé volontaire explained. So he read it, I read it, meaning that. He volunteered himself to get himself into a boat and go to the Atlantic, out of French coast, without food, without water. Okay, so he tried to survive in the taking the water from the evaporation of the sea or the rain, and then with the plastic thing. So that's how he incorporated the water, and he fished in order to eat. That's we imagine the life the worst case scenario, that we have nothing, and then we have to feed the children, you guys, and everything. So that's how that book teach us a lot of things, but at the same time it's very for me right now that going to that kind of expedition and because you read that book and you learn things from that book is very inimaginable. I mean, like, you know, for now, if I have to decide my life and my children's life, I won't rely to a book like that. but that's what we did. He read and he passed to me to read it, and I said, "Oh, this is feasible. This is
Well, there is the other book, Papillon. Papillon.
The Papillon. That's the Papillon. I think that maybe a lot of people know.
Yeah,
There's a movie about that. Like, you know, that's a guy
the guy who tried to escape from a jail in
Yeah. So those two books that we read, like, you know, during that year, during the year that, you know, we doing things and we wait for that. Yeah.
But the trip was relatively uneventful.
The trip is not that uneventful, but it's not as bad as the book say. Like, you know, we have food, we have water.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's okay.
But but the book didn't say about the pirate, but we came across the pirate. Okay. So it's not that uneventful. Yeah, we came across the pirate.
We went through a storm, but the first day was exhilarating because there were the sea was flat, and our just southwest. Yeah.
What happened with the pirates?
We spot a big boat, like, you know, at the horizon, and we thought that, you know, oh, that's okay, that's good. Now we can leave because, like, you know, people, like, you know, is going to, like, you know, pick us up, like, you know, that I heard that people say that. So we direct ourselves to that boat, and then the boat is huge. I mean, like, you know, that. And then he get into, and then people, like, you know, threw the cord for him to take it up, and then he got into that boat to go to the captain office to look for the map, because, like, you know, we know about, like, you know, where we were, but we didn't know exactly where we were. So at the same time, the people from that boat pour into my little boat, and they try to search things. They try to search for, normally, like, you know, the people escape like that, they have gold, right? Gold or valuable things, but they didn't find anything valuable in our boat because we didn't have anything valuable except, like, you know, a few rings, watch, like, you know, for those, the other family have the men, like, you know, and they have watches, so they took the watches and they took my wedding ring. Yeah, and they took my wedding ring, and after that they find that, you know, they have nothing to take, so they went down to the ceiling, like, you know, the place that, you know, we put water and oil and everything, and they saw, like, you know, that we didn't have much food left, so they went to their boat to take a bucket of rice and water and take it to give it to us. At the same time, like, you know, he is in the captain, and I said, oh, come down, because, like, you know, they're not going to help us. They are pirates, so, and they try to search the boat, and he came down at the same time because they didn't find anything. So they give us rice and water, and then they just direct, like, you know, because they didn't speak English. We don't speak whatever their language. I didn't even know from until now what nationality they are. Right? People still think, like, you know, Thai people, but I can say for sure. And at the same time, they're not professional pirates. I think that, you know, they are fishermen, and then, like, you know, because they see, like, you know, people they can rob, then they try to rob, but there's nothing to rob, so they try to help us. So they point to us the way to go, and we still don't understand, like, you know, what they say. And then they said, okay, they come, and then, like, you know, they start the engine of the boat for us to know, like, you know, they let, and then they got into their big boat, and then we separated at the time.
And you were, at the time, you were pregnant, how was that? How difficult was the trip for you, given your health conditions?
It was my sixth child, so and my nature is like when I get pregnant, I was stronger than like I'm not pregnant. Okay, so like it's some kind of my body built some kind of energy in order to deal with the pregnancy, at the same time to deal with the difficulty around it. So I didn't have any problem with the seasick. I didn't have seasick.
Navy.
Yeah, but my first child, Nhi, she really
Yeah, she was sick.
She was very sick.
Very sick. Yeah.
The seasick.
And this boat was like, what, 19 people on the boat, right?
Yeah. 19 people on the boat.
But
yes.
the 6
11
children?
children. 11 children, because the other family have children too. Okay, so 11 children, 19 people, which is about 8 people,
8 adults.
Yeah.
And then how many days did it take you to reach the refugee camp?
3 nights and 4 days. Yeah.
And you reached?
And we reached Malaysia, Terengganu. So, but it's about 500 miles, which is about that 700 kilometers. Which, because our boat went in some kind of 10-15 kilometers an hour. It's like you walk. Okay, so yeah, so we reached Terengganu.
And then you were taken to Labida?
No, we landed in Terengganu, at the very late in the evening already. No, not in the evening, in the afternoon. So, and then the storm coming, behind us. So we got out of the, and that place is the kind of the resort. Terengganu is the resort place for Malaysia. People from the resort looking at us, they didn't even know what to do, and we didn't even know what to do either. But we decided, because of the storm behind us, we decided to jump out of the boat and walk into it's not a swimming, because it's kind of that thigh high water. So we took the children into the beach, okay, and then the soldiers of the Malaysia come out, and they said, no, you can't stay here, okay. And we said, yeah, but we cannot get back to the boat because of the storm coming, and the children can be drowned. And then they said, yeah, but we have a place for you to go, but you cannot go now because it's the evening and also the storm. So they got back to the boat and sleep there, waiting for the next day, and then they show us the island for us to go there. I don't know how long the island from the Terengganu, but the island called it Pulau, and that's how we reached to Kuala Bidong the next day.
Yeah.
So what happened when you got to Pulau Bidang?
Yeah, people told us to dump our boat, and then we get to the camp, and then we wait there for various delegations from refugee commission to come and okay. So most of the people would wait for the U.S. delegation to come, but yeah, and many of them are rejected by the U.S. But, and then we heard that there is a Canadian commission to come. Okay. But in a sense, I have made up my mind, okay, not to apply, because the story, the procedure is to be on the list, and then the delegation comes, and then you put in that list where you wish to go. So at that time, I have somewhat made up my mind not to apply for the U.S. Yeah, one thing, because we were educated already in Canada, and then the bad feeling about the war left me something, because I guess really Americans are really good people, except that one thing: when they send their army over there, there is not much training, or so they are very arrogant, and the military generally is arrogant, and then from that they get and then I had lived in Canada, so, and I know it's one thing in Canada I cherish, is that they found Canadian has always, they're not sure of themselves, they have always have some kind of self-doubt, and that was one good thing for me. And so, okay, let other people, because also we were able also, because I knew French and so on. We could have applied also to go to France, okay, because my secondary schooling was in French, and I graduated from Quebec, which is somewhat French, but somewhat. And then we heard that there was a delegation from Canada coming in to see if there are potential for refugees there, and then so I told you go and to see the delegation. Okay.
Yeah, actually, at that time it's only the second or the third day that we arrived to the island that the Canadian delegation get in. Okay, we didn't have any, like, you know, that we didn't establish any kind of files, like, you know, that in the refugee camp yet. But that I went and I saw, like, you know, the long line of the people waiting to see, because they already apply, and then they have, like, you know, they need to see them for the interview to see if they do or not. But I decided to jump the line, and I asked, you know, those people, because, like, you know, there's the line, and then there's those people who stay there to for the order, and I said that I just want to see that guy inside, and they said no, you have to get into the line, because I said no, I'm not going to do anything. It seemed like, you know, somebody that I know, so maybe it's not right, but, like, you know, I want to make sure that it's not it's the people that I know. So they didn't know what to decide. I just get in, and I talked to the Canadian officer. I said I studied in Canada before, and now I'm in the situation at the refugee camp. I just arrived here 3 days ago. But he saw that, you know, I was very pregnant, and then he asked me a few questions. Is your family here? How many people in the family, and so on? And I told him, I said, where's your family? Bring them here. So I went out, and he was outside, and I told him, like, you know, go and get the kids. So he went back to the place that, you know, we stay. And he got you guys to come, the whole 5 of you, plus the 2 boys that, you know, we took along. And then the guy interrupt the interview with those people, and they said, I want to interview those people. And of course, like, the Vietnamese workers, like, in the camp, in that Pulau Bidong, said, no, they cannot be interviewed yet because they don't have the file yet. And the man said, but then get them the file, just do the file right now, like, And then, of course, we have to go through, take pictures, ID, and everything for, like, an hour. And then we got interview from him. And then he told us right away that, yeah, you can go. On the next flight, on the next, like, things you can go. But, like, in my mind, it's not like him. I never consider anything except go back to Canada. I don't even think about, like, even though, like, France was the place that, they taught me from the primary and secondary school that France is wonderful and everything, or America is, like, very good. I have no doubt in my mind that, I have to go back to Canada. And then, and that's how we got, in and waiting in the Pulau Bidong camp until the next boat that, they took us to the mainland, to the Malaysia, and wait for the plane to get there. But at the same time, I told the guy that I am pregnant. I'm 7th month, and I don't want to give birth on the island because lots of people give birth on the island. Okay? And then, like, nothing happens. Seems like, that everybody survive. But I said, no, I don't want to give birth to my child on the island. So please, if necessary, I can go by myself to Canada to have to give birth, and the rest of my family can wait until the next plane. Okay, but he said, oh, that is not easy to say, easy to do, but I do my best. That's how he said.
So, how long were you in Malaysia for the entire time?
Yeah.
A month and something. 1 month and 10 days.
Yeah, from April to June. Yeah.
You came in June.
Yeah.
We came here the 2nd of June. So yeah, it is 1 month and some days.
And your last child was born not very shortly after?
We arrived on the 2nd of June, and the last child is born on the 16th of June, 2 weeks after that. So we didn't have a place to stay, when he's born. We were staying in some kind of a hotel that the manpower of Canada placed us
in Toronto.
In Toronto. Yeah.
He was born in Toronto.
Yeah.
And where did you go from there?
And at the same time, he went to look for the place. And after that, I got out of the hospital a few days after that. So we have a place in Eddystone, which is in the North York, a townhouse. So that they can take the 9 of us, there are 6 kids now, the 2 of us, and then there's 2 boys, which is 10 people on a 3-story townhouse. And Immigration of Canada furnished that townhouse, and that is at the first time, that because in Vietnam, even though I was in Canada before, but in Vietnam for us, two kids in one bed, things like that, right? But no, for the standard of Canadian people, each child have their own bed. That's how, we have 7 beds and 1 double bed for us. So, and then some kind of crib for the baby. Okay. So, it's very. I was very impressed But the way that they settle, even though they didn't buy
because we were refugees, so
Yeah.
so immigration supply
they supply.
furniture and
Yeah, but-
the first, in principle, the first few weeks of
But the
food
first-
and
Yeah. Each child have their own bed. That's the things that impressed me the most.
And what kind of help did you get from the government when you first arrived?
They gave it to us $500 2 weeks, okay, for food, because they pay for the apartment, so for food, and we every 2 weeks he has to go to the manpower to pick up the check. At the same time he apply for jobs. I didn't apply for a job myself because my child was just born, so I stayed home. But he applied for jobs, and on the second check, which is 2 weeks, 1 month after that, because every 2 weeks one check, and 1 month after that he went there, and then they give him a job offer to be an electrician. I remember well that $10 an hour.
No. Assembly.
Assembly? Okay, some kind. Okay, and then he said, "No, I am applying for the job. I'm electrical engineer, and I don't know anything about the assembly. So give me a few times so for me to apply for a job." And then the officer said, "Yeah, okay, you can do that, but the second time, which is the next 2 weeks, you come here. If I have another job offer and you decline, then you're not going to have that check, okay? You're not going to have that money.
You'll be cut off.
Yeah, you will be cut off." And then somehow he got some kind of frustrated, and he handed the check back to the guy, and he said, "Okay, you can keep your check. I'm leaving." And then he left. And then he went home, and I asked, "Where's the money?" He said, "I give it back to him." And then I have to manage myself to call my friend and say, "Can I borrow some $100 because we have no food here?" Things like that. And then at that time off, he went to Montreal to look for jobs because we have a lot of friends there. He stayed in one of our friends' house, and immediately he got a job in Montreal.
With who did you work? Where did you find that job? Who did you work with?
A small engineering company.
Small engineering company, direct by his friends, things like that. Yeah. And then at the same time, he still look for jobs because that is just a temporary. Okay? And then he got into the advertise of Lavalin company.
So job posting?
Yeah, on the job posting, and then he applied, and they took him, but he has to fly to Calgary. He has to this job is in Calgary. Do you want to go? And then we said, "Okay, we go." And then they give us some kind of moving expenses, which is about $7,000 to move, plus the plane ticket for the kids. It's only for the kids, but the 2 boys that I took it along, a friend of us in Montreal, they agreed to adopt them, the 2 boys.
So these were your friends from
Montreal.
From school.
From school, yeah. They
adopted
agreed to
kids.
adopt them because, they said, "It's no way that you guys you're going to manage the 7 kids, and also we want to adopt them." Yeah.
And so what did you think about moving to Calgary at that time? What did you know about that city?
No, I knew it before because in my previous stay in Canada, I went for 1 summer doing work in the Rockies, so I knew Calgary but the financially the offer is was something I could not refuse. So. So that was the main. I didn't think about whether it was Calgary or so. Just okay. If that is, we'll get it. Yeah.
The main thing is take me aback at that time was Calgary is in the English zone. Since I went into the French school. University de Montréal is a French university, so that's a small detail that take me aback, but that's okay. Yeah.
And so you worked in for SNC Level 9 for many years.
Since then, yeah. So I guess 20 years. And
did you find work? Was it difficult for you to find work, Matt?
Agency level is not 20 years. You work since 1979
to 2000. Yeah, to 2000.
Yeah.
It's 20 years or 20, and afterward I still continue afterward to continue to work on
as a contractor.
As a contractor.
Yeah. I stay home about 1 year because Len was just born, and then when I get a job in CIBC, a part-time job, I have to hire a lady to look after the kids, to go to work, even though part-time. And I have to do a lots of sacrifice at that time because that the salary, the money that I gave it to her is almost half of the what I earn as a part-time job in CIBC. But I still think that okay, I have to build up my my resume for with CIBC, and it's about 6 months on the part-time, and they got me into a full-time job in different place in CIBC, and I worked with them about 15 years after that. Yeah.
You didn't have to go back to retrain or anything, or did you have to train for English language or anything?
I was on and off English. I never have official training of English in Vietnam. But when I come back here, at the same time I work part time at CIBC. But in the evening time, I went to Mount Royal College to follow some kind of English conversation, English for a few months, in order to get me fluent in English for me to get day-to-day work. Yeah.
It surprised me that even at that time that CIBC hired her at that level of English.
Yeah.
Surprised me, but
they hire me in the front line. I mean, I have to
like a cashier.
It's not a cashier. It's a kind of it's a kind of a worker, but that interact with people. So it was a difficult time for me for the first few months, but I managed.
If you look back, how long did it take for you to feel like, okay, we're good, we're settled in, we're out of, things are stable now, things are good?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years for him. For me, that minute that I get my feet in Canada, I feel this is just this is just the bottom. There's no way but up. Okay, there's no way down. That's what for me. I think
No. There was the ups and downs because 1982, 83. There's a big depression here in Calgary. Was laid off and for 2 years 2 years or 1 year, I don't know. I cannot remember.
1 year, some month.
You were out of a job. You were
Out of work, and then the only income is from her.
He was out of work at the end of the middle of 1983, and the beginning of 85 he got back his job with SNC Lavalin. But then at the same time, luckily that I got a job at that time. Otherwise, we have to give up the house like everybody else, because at that time people with one income, because they're engineer, right? So their wife doesn't have to work, and the minute that come in, they get let off. What they do is they put the key in the envelope and send to the bank. Here, we move out. You take the house, whatever it is, because the house at that time, the value is less than the mortgage. That was happened to Kangri back to 1983. Yeah, but we survived with one income.
So you had bought the house by then. How long did it take for you to buy a house?
6 months. We came here in Kangri the month of September, and then because of the money that Lavalin gave it to us to move, we didn't take any furniture with us or any belonging. We took the money here to Kangri, and that is the one of them. And then at the same time, the Shell Oil Company in London, they heard that he's out of the country already, so they sent another $3,000 to him, in in lieu of the retirement or something like that money. So we got about 10,000 at that time, and we down payment for a house of 95, which is not bad.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah, 6 months. So we bought the house in December. We arrived here September. We bought the house in December, but with the condition that we're not going to move until June, because number one is to build up more money, and number two is for the children to get out of the place of the school, the Bowcroft at the school that they go. So in order to start another year somewhere else. So it's about 8 months that we got the house.
And if you look back, what were the biggest struggles or obstacles in the first few years?
No, it's good life.
It's good life. Well, now because used to the life here, then you can see obstacle everywhere. But at that time, because we have at beginning nothing, and that's what I just said. I was at the bottom. I just see the way up. I don't see the way down. So we didn't see anything, any obstacle big enough for us to worry about. Of course, the children at school, they also have the struggle with English, because you guys, you didn't know English at that time, and at that time they don't have the system English as a second language like now, or a few years later that. So you guys, you have to get with the teacher immersion. You have to get immersion in English. So that is some of the obstacle. If you talk about obstacle, so you guys the children will be frustrated and everything because they didn't know the language, and they were in the school with all the English speaking people. But then they didn't even, and they learn that we learn during that trip or during the life in Vietnam. They didn't even complain. The children didn't even complain about that. So they just that push them in the water and they just swim. That's how I look at it, and I think that there's a difficulty also for the kids.
But even when you were laid off, you didn't see that as you didn't feel you were in danger. You were not worried.
was laid off, at the same time he looked for a job, and then also he volunteered himself for the Vietnamese community to to spend his time. And me, that I work. Luckily for me, is at that time they have lots of work in my area, and I have to do all the overtime always, like a lot of overtime, and we survive on that. Of course, we didn't have vacation. We
no. Things were good. The only worry would be to lose the house, the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
But what was nice in the government here is that they give
some
kind of subsidy for a certain amount above amount of interest. Anything above 18, the government will be subsidizing.
So the mortgage interest at that time is 18%.
Yeah.
Okay? And then the government said, okay, this is ridiculous. A lot of people are going to lose the house, considering the jobs market right now. So government of Alberta decide to take over anything above 1%. So we have to pay only 1% mortgage rate. 6% the government take over for a period of 2 years.
And so once that was the only worry at that time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all the kids are in school. They fare good in school. And,
they're good in school. I work, food on the table.
Yeah.
Who else you? We didn't have any vacation, of course. The only vacation we did is go camping on the weekend. That's the vacation. But no flying anywhere. No Cuba, no Mexico, no Vietnam, no nothing.
Okay.
So what do you think of Canada's response to the refugee crisis?
I think at the time it was terrific.
Very good.
And still looking at the response of Canada to the various waves of refugees coming in after us. Not only the Vietnamese, but there are other people coming in. I think it's commendable.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really commendable in the sense that we always feel that it's not only the government, it's the people who worry about other people in the world, and that is Canada.
It's compassion.
Yeah.
Compassion.
Do you talk about your experiences to other people? Do you tell your stories?
We told our story once with CBC.
What do you think that the future generations can learn from your stories? What can future generations learn from your experience?
Be compassionate. I'll be compassionate still, because that will be the world. The world will open up. Canada is still a very, very big country, and there will be a lot of people, and I think nowadays other countries are building walls. I think do not build walls.
There's still room?
Yeah.
Come on. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for taking part in this project and sharing your stories.
Okay, you're welcome, and we are very glad. I'm very glad to come to sit here and talk with my daughter. At the same time, my daughter is at the same time the interviewer. So thank you very much also for me. Therefore, for me to have the occasion to do that.
Thank you.